Hope everybody has had the opportunity to review the minutes of my last meeting, January 30th. Any questions, concerns? Could I get a motion to adopt those minutes? Thank you. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. And let's keep moving right along in report of the governance committee.
So, governance committee met on February 21st, 2025. Staff reported to the committee that they reviewed ADO guidelines for required information that's posted on the public authority's website to confirm that all required postings are up to date. Members also reviewed the summary of results for the confidential board evaluations. Every board member completed the evaluation and responded agreed to all evaluation categories. And finally, the committee reviewed the APA's procurement, property disposition, property acquisition, and investment policies as required annually. We recommended a change to the procurement policy, adding a section summarizing some state finance law requirements. And we also recommended 2 minor changes to the investment policy, which clarify the intent of the existing policy. The committee recommends no changes to the property disposition or acquisition policy.
Thank you. Any questions? Concerns about those recommendations and changes? Any additions?
I just wanted to bring up again, when we discussed in the committee meeting, we just wanted to give an opportunity for all board members to weigh in on the evaluation, seeing how we all agreed if there was anything that anybody wanted to mention, sort of in the open forum now that we're all together.
It's wonderful that we, all the years of working on it, that we communicate enough that we can say, yes, we all are in agreement, yes, we're all on the same page, yes, support the direction and everything the authority is doing. But at the same time, when you see unanimous decision, if you will, or unanimous support for something, you want to take the opportunity to make sure that everybody is clear on what the objective was, what they're supposed to do, and the opportunity for anyone to have more to comment or anything forward. We're good? All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Do we need to take any action for anything that has been recommended out of the governance committee?
There are 2 resolutions.
Okay. The first resolution, 2025-02-01. Does everybody have that?
Mhm.
Any questions or concerns about that policy? Could I get a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Thank you. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Number 5, resolution approving annual ITS contract, resolution 25-02-02. ITS is our IT provider support, and they have been a provider for quite a while now, is that right?
Yeah.
And we're all pleased with the services they provide. Went through the process to normal process required to go out and let the contract and sign a new contract. Any questions or concerns about this resolution? Could I get a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. And now we'll move to a review of the financials.
Thank you, sir. First month of the year, so it's not going to be very exciting for us. Our business strategies continue to focus on training, professional growth, focus on increasing garage occupancy, and pursue brand opportunities. Capital improvements, community projects, heated sidewalks, annual repairs on our renovations, and mural projects / artwork as well. Moving on to page 3. Our revenue for January was $770,115, with our expenses being $704,662, with a net income of $65,400. Our available cash is $1.6 million, and our operating and payroll accounts.
Was January as expected?
Yes, January was as expected. And we'll see that in the next slide here. In comparison to last January or January 24. Revenues were lower this year due to the decrease in monthly. But also events are really slow this month. It's just we didn't have any major events like we did last year in January. It's mostly consistent, other than the slower event month, being a slower event month. Any questions before we move on? Parking revenues. Parking revenues increased from December to January, while our daily revenue increased by 33,000. Our event decreased by 31,000, but it did lead to still having a $9,000 increase compared to last year. Let's see the number of judgments.
I mean, the decline in monthly is slightly for it. You say a trend?
Yeah, it has been. It's been the same trend as last year. You know, we lose a few every month. We did gain a major account, well, a semi-major account with MBT coming on in December, but we did lose a few law firms and smaller corporates, and that seems to be the trend as they're moving out of downtown, moving more uptown. But we follow up with that. We're still making up for that in our dailies and stuff like that. So we're still seeing that same kind of trend. Moving on to expenses. Expenses are lower in January due to us paying the meter licensing fee, which is about $500,000. Well, it was $500,000, wasn't about in December 24. Our insurance increased in January 25. We had to pay our cybersecurity policy and our first installment of insurance, totaling $88,000. Business as usual. And then I believe we make our second payment in July. Yeah. Our insurance did go up about 20%.
Well, I was gonna ask how much it went up,
Yeah.
20%.
We anticipated 15, so yeah, it's a little rough.
Insurance is really tough right now.
Yeah.
Across the board.
Still seeing happy days for meters, despite having 2 holidays. Our meter revenue increased with the New York State legislation being in session. We had a $17,000 increase in our main parent zone, Zone 100, which is their most expensive zone. We also had 2 $13,000 meter days, or $13,000 plus meter days, which was close to record breaking. We actually did have our record-breaking day yesterday of over $14,000 for our meter day. It was pretty incredible, thanks to session, and I believe there was something else.
New York State bar.
Yeah.
Bar, and yesterday was a big advocacy. This week is a big.
Yes, yeah, we're seeing big numbers this week, so that's great. And I believe, Doug, you're probably seeing big numbers on your side as well. Yeah.
So not that you mentioned the bar, you know, the garage over there, they don't seem to be communicating between the cap center and the private garages over there. It's a little bit of chaos in the mornings over there. So,
Yeah.
you know, I look at that and say that might create an opportunity for us somewhere if we can figure out how to help them deal with overflow or parking in our spaces and not everybody trying to fit 20 cars in 10 spaces.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
There are like 15 more lobby days.
Mm.
All right, any questions about the meter revenues? All right, moving on, and again, our meter daily average, again, you know, our month in January has been very well for meters. We're seeing a daily average of $11,000, which is clearly much more than it's been in prior months. So hopefully we can see that. Legislative session has a busy month next month too, I believe, and then we start kind of petering a little bit as far as that schedule goes. Although it could change, I would assume if something weird happened, right?
So whether they get a budget passed or not.
Yeah.
Whatever happened with the Fed is how interested people are gonna be coming for policy things. So
Right.
interesting.
Yes.
And our monthly and other revenues, monthly parking continues to be consistent with 11 new passes in January. We adjusted our projections for the year for monthly parking due to customers switching to daily parking, which has been the trend all of 2024. We did make our projections lower for this year to budget conservatively. And, you know, our monthly and other revenue is consistently below projections in 24, so that's what led us to adjust our projections for 25.
Can you tell if this increase in the meter parking, if people are using the app or not? There's a lot of people from that town, are they all lining up to
Download.
use a little?
Yeah, so
We tell?
yes, we can. We do have a report that it weeds out all the specific zones. So we know when usage is higher or lower per day, which is our, thank you, Derek. Sorry. Our daily meter report.
Sorry to jump around like that.
Oh, that's fine. We don't look at this very often, but it's, you know, it definitely gives a more, on a granular level of how the meters work. On the right side of the page, you can see all the zones, which zone percentage wise gets used the most. Zone 100 obviously is the zone that gets used the most, but you can also put all the subzones of zone 100 all the way up to 118 into that percentage range, which makes it over 70% of our revenue that comes in from the app. And then in a close second is zone 300, which is our second lowest rate in the area. That's more like Central Avenue, New Scotland Avenue. Some busier, but not quite as busy or occupied areas like downtown is. And then we break it out into which platform, you know, so you can see which platform has the most revenue, obviously. Passport, which is our app, brings in the most revenue out of our meter system, with Parkion being second, and Parkion's our physical machines, and then with Civic Smart being third, the lowest, which is just our regular single space underutilized meters that we're trying to weed out, just make app only areas.
Just wondering, you know, Kevin, how they're finding out about it, are they getting to it?
So we're pretty aggressive advertising the app. We have partnerships with Bid, Discover, and stuff like that. They all list the app for us. We do social media outreach. We do paid advertising on social media for the app as well. We also do it for monthly passes. We've updated our signage, and as we put in meters or new signage, it does have a QR code to download the app. We barely ever talk about using a kiosk.
Yeah,
Our message is use the app. It's just more convenient.
we push it pretty hard.
All these people are coming into town to go to legislature.
Yep.
Just tell them how they're finding out.
Yeah.
Folks in the legislature doing that, or?
I mean, we've got
Just down looking.
Repeaters, definitely, they know, and, you know, you can see the increase day to day, you know, between, you know, it's not so much on the meters as it is on the app, so you know that a lot of the long timers know that it's there, and word travels like.
And we have a strong on-street signage system program for the app. Basically every pole that has anything about a meter on it has a sign for the app.
And when I go to some place I've never been before, I always
Yeah, just,
look for the app.
yep. Oh, yeah.
How many meters do we have to take coins? How many meters?
We have 184 multi-space meters, that's the big kiosk, and we have 146 single-space meters on the street right now.
Are they primarily handicap meters? or-
No, the single spaces is roughly 10 handicap spaces, and the multi-space meters probably handle about 50, so.
I'm thinking about the coins, not the multi-space.
Yeah.
We can put coins in a multi-space?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like a this spot in front and back.
and they're all ADA compliant as well.
How much money is that weekly, monthly, what, in coins? So we still do that with KeyBank and?
Yeah, so we roughly do about I want to say about $14,000 a month in just cash, and about I want to say almost 80, a little over 80% is all credit card credit card. I'll say
So
that
the
just
coins,
now.
are we still doing what we were doing back when it was mostly coins in terms of having some forensics look at it to spot thievery?
Yeah, we still have the same exact system in place, for the coinage. So it's, they're all sealed bins, one key, that we don't have access to. Only the coin counter has access to the key. And there hasn't been any real, shortages in probably 3 years.
Yeah, that was the way we caught them was.
That's
the
right.
Coin count didn't match up.
Yes, sir.
The percentage with the,
Yeah, we continue to do
it was
that.
$14,000 still.
Sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it used to be 80,000 in cash a month,
Well,
you
yeah.
know.
I can go to jail for 14,000.
No, certainly not.
Somebody else might.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, any more questions? Okay. Moving on to daily garage and lot revenue, we saw, a slight increase at garage one and garage two, and we're still well above projections again. And just, painting the picture of, a lot of folks still, gravitating towards daily rather than monthly. I would expect that to change somewhat in the near future. I would expect more monthly people to be, utilizing the garages.
Based on what,
A lot of the, come back to work orders and all that stuff.
we're seeing that, it's really, they're really. making
Yes.
that happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most of our uptick on daily is because, and both daily and individual passes is because either they're in for hybrid, so 2-3 days a week, so they're only paying the transient. When our uptick on individual passes is because the people are just buying the pass themselves, and most of the companies doing callbacks are not paying for parking for their employees anymore.
Hmm.
And we've seen a steady upcreek in individual passes. The more that ticks up, the more callbacks that are happening. We've gotten multiple, in the last 2 months, we've gotten about 3 or 4 large size inquiries about passes for companies that are working on callback plans.
That's interesting. And do you think at some time in the future, those single daily upticks are gonna
Once you pass a 2-3 day hybrid schedule, it's beneficial for the consumer to buy a monthly pass. When they're doing like a week that's 2 days and then next week's 3 days and the next week's 2 days, it's about the same price. So they don't want to put in a monthly system because it's an auto renew. But once they're back in the office 4 days or more, it's beneficial to buy the pass.
have you seen that yet?
Yeah, we're starting to. It's been a slow trickle probably for the past 3 to 4 months, but
Right.
we've seen heavier inquiries in probably the last 30 to 45 days.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Revenue summary. So our revenue summary is just showing that, so far we have been exceeding projections with everything in the month, with the exception of special events. So we're well within projections or above, with the exception of the special events. So it's, overall, we're ahead of the game by 11%, with meters and daily garage revenue being the rock stars for January.
I think it's important to say forecasting purposes, forecasts, right? Pretty much across the board, you can't control, because
No, yeah.
a negative 468%.
Right.
Sticks out a
It's
little
yeah, it's a little misleading, but it's,
But we'll see that come back.
Yeah,
we're not in panic mode.
February is going to be another
No, that's all.
February is going to be another not super great month for event revenue. But March kicks up and we have already 6 known sold out shows throughout the next 6 months with the possibility of it being 10. And we're expecting the CrossFit Games in August to be at the scale of Fish and NCAA.
So we're gonna be doing good just
Yep.
fine.
Yep,
Yeah.
no,
Don't worry,
absolutely.
don't worry, it's-
That percentage will change.
I don't like looking at that number, so
I do like making fun of Kevin for that.
I appreciate it.
though.
We did negative.
Come on, that's fun. To our debt service investment account activity, this is also status quo, withdrawing $160,000 as usual. We continue to follow our investment guidelines and are on schedule to make our huge payment in July. Short-term investments. I just wanted to note, that we did use $500,000 from this account to purchase a T-bill early in January. And we also continue to utilize, the account for idle monies that will, be required to make payments later in the year's capital outlays, et cetera.
Okay, hold on. So you took $500,000 out to buy a T-bill?
Yeah.
And that's in accordance with investment policy and?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So in reporting, it should still be reported as short-term.
Correct.
Account.
Yes. Yep. And as of this month, the 6-month treasury bill rate is about almost 4.2%.
I say 4.16.
Yeah. And moving on to our long-term investment account, there hasn't been much change in January, but we did make a deposit $200,000 into this account that will be reflected in February's meeting. The board set, just a quick reminder, the board set a goal of, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
The board set a goal of 15 to 30% of budget to be invested into the long-term account strategy for our long-term sustainability practices.
And is there a schedule?
So what is that
of those
number?
Deposits?
So 15 to 30% of, what, 9 something mil, I believe is our budget,
Around 9 too.
something like that.
The issue is it changes every year with the budget.
Yeah.
For this, it would be.
We're not close yet.
That's $1.5 million.
Yeah, we're not there yet. We're striving. But you know, it's also good to build this account up as well for like our bonding purposes. It really helps our
Yeah.
case for that as well. So
Mhm.
the more the better.
How often do you audit?
Um,
Is there a schedule or?
Not really. So we just
Yeah.
kind of, at the end of the year, you know, Misty and I will review it, see what we have left over, see what we're comfortable about, you know, whenever all of our obligations are met. And then we'll just take whatever's left over and throw it right in there.
Be a good idea, let the treasurer know that, just so the board is understanding.
Absolutely.
And because it's a board policy to set this up as a
Yeah.
long term. Do that.
Absolutely. Our EV charging investment account, we still have the same trend with this as we did in 2024. And we did receive our Q4 revenue from EV Connect for roughly around the same amount of $3,400. So that'll be reflected in February's presentation. And we'll be dipping into this.
$64.
Yeah. We'll be dipping into 6,400, yeah. We'll be dipping into this fairly soon to repair a few of our machines that we've been having a little bit of problems
What
with.
is
So
failure?
it's a lot of it seems to be modem failures lately, modem and so communications failures. That we can't seem to, it's not quite like a parking meter, so we kind of have to call the big guns in to come and look at it to get it running again. Yeah. It used to be like power failures and easy stuff like that. Now it's like, you know, everything is like a computer. So.
Follow the cord to the wall and pull it up.
Right. That's my go-to. Yeah, if all else fails, reboot it, see what happens. And that's all I have for the presentation.
That's great, thank you. Things are in good shape. The work that everyone does. Ready for enforcement numbers?
Sure.
That work?
Well, we did have a revenue history, but we kind of went through all that with the presentation, but the revenue history just shows
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped right over.
No, it's okay.
Yes.
you know, it's in January shows a slight decline, but it's still in line with last year. And our monthly average will be climbing this month into March as well. So And our key numbers, early January, so there's nothing really to read here other than our insurance expense that we are not able to find out about until after the fact of budget. So everything else is pretty much on par with our budget. Good.
Okay,
And now,
sorry.
enforcement numbers for January, they really blew it out of the water, with their best January yet since 2020. Almost reaching $400,000.
How's that?
And I believe that they're on track for February as well to be close to their last year's February numbers, if not exceeding. Is that correct, Doug?
What are we attributing that to?
Honestly, I think it's been busy out there with what's going on, and also.
Staffed up?
We're up-staffed, and
Great.
we've got some good employees, and we only lack one or two staff, but, staff.
We've got some new equipment in place that's actually functioning and, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Great.
nice when things work, you know?
Yeah. Hey, it's not easy.
No,
It's
no,
small,
it's not.
especially in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Good
We
job,
didn't have
Matt.
any snow emergencies, did we?
We've had snow days, but no snow emergencies.
Now we're gonna have one.
Yep.
No, I wanted one to come, man. So does that impact negatively or positive
Negative.
that we didn't have? We get more money when we have them.
No,
No,
the other way,
no, we lose money.
That was my question.
yeah, it's the other way around.
That may be why we look better this year than last.
It could be, yeah.
But also, you know, enforcement, you know, no one loves that word necessarily, but we are focusing on quality of life. Handicap, crosswalks, making sure people can live in the city,
24/7.
doing all the right stuff, and doing it 24/7. So that's important to keep that in front of mind, because that's what we're really doing it for.
Any idea
Great
how
job.
many 20-mile-an-hour tickets are being written to here anecdotally? Because driving around the city is.
I haven't.
There's a lot, but I'm not sure what the number is.
That's,
Yeah.
Right.
That's.
I go 20 miles an hour just because people are behind me.
Okay, what's next? Communications?
Yes, sir. We were, put in contact by City Hall, with Jason Pierce, who owns Savoy and I believe owns the Copper Crown Warehouse District as well. I do remember, some years ago that, we were asked to look in the area to help with the parking situation over there.
We're talking about where?
Warehouse district.
Warehouse.
Yeah.
Okay.
And back then, it wasn't really, you know, we want to help, it just wasn't really feasible to put parking meters and or try to find a parking lot over there. There's not a ton of activity to support that. The activities increased since then, but we still have the issue of our limitations. So what I mean by that is, if we can't control the entire area, then it's not beneficial for us to do anything. Because the support's not there. We have protection blocks in order to force people into the center of paid parking, and we're kind of not able to do that yet. It's not quite that busy. However, there is a turnkey lot at 41 North Ferry that we're going to be talking to the owners about soon to see what kind of a lease agreement that they would like to make with us. Because we do have an opportunity to possibly sell some monthly passes in that lot for some of the residents that are in the area. The lot is pretty clean. It's already striped. It doesn't need any work really. So if it's beneficial to the authority, we may try to enter into an agreement to run that lot.
And it's important to, right, to constantly communicate that we're constantly looking at that, and we are part of it. We want the warehouse to do well, all the rest.
Right.
But please understand that it has to be something that we can make work.
That's right.
You know, we're not just gonna do it, not have it work. And that's hard to communicate. People want to hear that. They just want their parking.
Sure, yeah.
But, you know, that could be a very viable option.
Yeah.
We can get some monthlies in there.
I just think it's residents in the area, they just park in the lot for free. So, you know, we'll, let's say in a perfect,
Striped it and made it, there's a lot of spots.
It's owned by the office building on Broadway, which has a giant lot along Broadway, and they also have the street.
Was it
There's-
part of the conversion
No,
decree that they had to provide this? parking?
yeah, they had, the building itself had to have parking. They wanted to have parking for all their people. It happened a lot, like, it's been there forever, but the lot hasn't probably been used by them in at least 5 years.
yeah,
They have an abundance of their own parking.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a big lot. So, I mean, if they're willing to play ball and make it beneficial for us, I don't mind, taking it over and putting together some kind of maintenance package for it, as long as, you know, we can, guarantee some monthlies in there to start.
Right. How far down Ferry is, I mean, is it,
You know where the old like antique salvage shop used to
Yeah.
be?
Yeah.
Right next to that. So about
So-
a block off Broadway.
so it's close enough.
Yeah.
That it would really support Broadway, and it would be we could make it very visible.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's
and
not
I
a
mean,
bad location to do it.
it might give us an opportunity to extend the meter program up, because I think we stop at North.
We stop at a ferry.
Yeah, so right now, so.
But the landlord is not getting any money, revenue from it now. There's something there.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
So I'm gonna see what they're looking for, if it's, you know, if they're willing to negotiate, and it's, like I said, if it's beneficial to us, I don't see a problem with doing it. You know, I'm sure, you know, we
Jason's
usually,
okay. He could maybe talk to the other people
yeah,
and work some sort of deals.
yeah, I believe he's gonna get in contact with the owner for us to kind of start the conversation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll be good. I mean, and we don't, you know, if it doesn't work out, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, all we're putting into it is a little bit of time.
And we're the ones that are taking up the lease on this, or?
Yeah, yeah,
We have to put in fences and cameras and.
it already has fences. It already has, I mean, I don't know about cameras, but it's ready for cameras. You know, yeah.
Yep.
Be very easy for us to go in and take. It's not like the average APA lot where if we take it over, we're doing everything first, you know,
Yeah.
wiping it right down and restarting. It's pretty much ready to go.
So they just never had this conversation.
So that's the kind of thing we want to be doing anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great place to do it. And the downside is limited and the upside is we look good.
Right.
Starts there, then we make money. And
Yeah.
let's-
And it won't break my heart if we can't do it. I mean, it's, you know.
Yeah, but we
I'd
should
like
really
that.
try,
I'd like
because-
to-
That's what I'm saying. We
Yeah.
really go after it.
I mean, if he's not making any money off of it right now, I mean, I don't see why it can't be a fair lease agreement,
Probably
Yeah.
doesn't think about it.
Yeah.
Boy,
The
get the,
businesses didn't come to him initially.
right?
I think it may be one of those things where like, not that we can cut out the conversation, you can be like, oh, I can't make money, and then just talk to them directly, but I was aware of a better conduit to make that more seamless as to what the needs of the lot are now, as opposed to whatever he is potentially paying to get you, so. Makes sense.
get the, Jason to talk to the other bar owners and restaurants and pool something.
I'm sure he has.
Absolutely.
To pay the landlord here, it's $1,000 a month, spread that over 5 institutions, and then we get the revenue and everybody's months.
You know, it's not a bad idea. Yeah,
Any concerns from the legal minds doing something like this?
Part of our charter, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, we would have to jump through some hoops, but you know, we're allowed to.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just any concerns, because I would love to see something like that.
It doesn't involve the state.
No.
No.
I mean, you know, I might have
City,
to,
yes, but-
yeah, I might have to go
Right.
to common council if that's okay. And,
Sure.
we may have to get it, appraised, and that's okay too.
I mean, breaking down is difficult, but if there's something easier that allows patrons, you know, in the city to have more accessibility to it, I think
Yeah.
it's a smart idea.
And it's right around the corner from the handful
Absolutely.
of popular places.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll keep everybody posted.
Woo-hoo.
The other bit was, the Clinton Market Collective. I have a meeting today at the mayor's office at 5:30 actually with Capitalized, DGS, I believe, possibly downtown bid. I'm not really sure. Well, it's not really their jurisdiction, but Capitalized has awarded, but has not signed a contract yet, as far as I know, with is it Resilient or is it
Relentless.
Relentless? Thank you.
I think it's with Joe and
Yeah, we have
with
another.
sign people.
Oh, it's just directly.
I believe
with Joe.
it's with just Joe and.
No,
With
you're
Joe,
kidding.
so they're in
I'm sorry.
negotiations with Joe.
That out
Bonilla.
loud, I'm sorry. They're just doing an individual and not.
I'm not 100% sure, but everything reads as Joe Manella.
Yeah,
So
so,
I'm very curious to see what that
yeah,
looks like.
yeah.
And who has, and I didn't mean to, it's not directed at anybody, it's just that talking about an individual, when we're talking about something that's gonna need maintenance, it's gonna
That's
need
right.
promotion, it's gonna need snow removal, it's gonna need everything along the lines. I was expecting to hear that we're gonna work with a management company or something that's gonna pull all that together.
Yeah. So we're gonna meet with Joe as well, in the same meeting. And, it's a meeting to bring everybody together to see what everybody can do. From what I recall from the RFP, it was supposed to be an all-inclusive contract as far as operations and the marketing and all that stuff. I'm assuming that the negotiations are not really going to include operations, and is why the Albany Parking Authority is being invited to the table. We currently have a maintenance contract with Capitalize Albany for the Clinton Market Collective to do some daily trash removal, daily sweeping. We do snow removal of 2 inches or less in the area, which is around the sidewalk, and I believe we put a path through the market as well as the ADA ramp going up to the Palace Theater. And just a quick reminder, we also have the same kind of contract in the Quackenbush Square. So we do control both of the operations, two out of the three, and the third being Skyway of the operations in that area.
So what are they contracting potentially with Joe?
I think this is just the programming for the most part.
So trying to lease out those containers and
Yeah.
entertainment or anything else along those lines. And so their contract.
Everybody knows, I know I've said a number of times, I represent Capitalized.
Yes.
So, and I know Sean
Yeah.
knows that.
Well,
I don't know
I'm
anything more than what's public, so.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, so they gonna do, potentially do a contract with him to do all that stuff, and then he'll be charging a fee, I assume to, or there'll be some sort of arrangement for people to rent out those spaces. Where does that money go?
I don't know what the arrangement is going to be. As far as I know, Capitalized is looking to collect the fee for the contract. I don't know what that fee is gonna be. I don't know how far into negotiations they are, if far at all. So I don't really know what those, I don't know what those details are yet.
I'd be curious, that's all, because,
We're curious too.
Yeah.
operations, maintenance, all the other things that go along with
Yeah.
making this happen.
It's a lot.
Is there gonna be a revenue stream for that or not?
Yeah,
So I'm curious to hear when you find out.
yes. Keep everybody posted about that. Any other questions?
Yeah, in communications, there was a piece about Lark Street. They were out there talking about parking, the same old stuff we've heard a few times. No, there was a piece in, was it the Times Union? Talking about how there's no parking up there with the parking authority, blah, 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 blah. A little bit about the lot at the top of J Street and all that. Wondering if there's anything new about that or involved in that at all.
Right, so the only thing that we've kind of been involved with recently was the Trinity lot. Off of on Lark Street. Ella, contacted me to, see if there was anything we could do, with the church folks, to manage the lot. We've run into this issue before with First Church, and so generally what happens is that the churches have, they have a budget, that they expect, some kind of revenue from their parking lots. And the reality is that they don't have the staff to be able to run the lot. They end up losing money on the lot, people parking a lot for free. They can't enforce it because they're not, because they're a private, not a public, even though they can make their lots public parking. And then they come and ask us for help. We give them a price, a very fair price to manage the lot, clean it, probably do a better job than ever been done in the lot. And they just can't do that. And they don't understand why we can't do any kind of a revenue sharing or anything like that. We just can't do that. You know, when the parking authority comes in and takes over a lot, we have to have it and we have to take it over. It's our revenue stream. And then, you know, whatever the negotiated lease or whatever is, it's fine. But beyond that, you know, we
The
can't.
amount we pay in a lease is not good enough.
Yeah, they're just not willing
Well, it's like
to.
that everything we have to keep, so they're still looking to have something every month that comes back from it, so. we can't-
Yeah,
And there's
No, I
a
know.
problem with their 501(c)(3) status, if they can't have a revenue stream from something that, it's like our requirements. And it has to be related to church function. So they can't rent, they can't do things, they can't build a McDonald's there and make money off McDonald's.
They could, they just have to pay
They'd
taxes.
have to pay taxes, yeah.
It wouldn't be
Right,
tax
yeah.
exempt.
No, there are, that jeopardizes the whole shooting match.
Depends on what percentage of it is.
Right.
but Bill, operationally, that specific lot is difficult for us to run anyways because of the church and what their parking needs are as well. You know, we have to give up a couple, not that it's a huge deal to me to give up a couple spaces for a pastor and one person that works there. But they supposedly still hold some kind of service there. They're gonna want a requirement for that.
And she doesn't care. Because she makes $120,000 a year.
Well, we don't need to go into that, but we should.
But that's.
I'm just curious because it was out in the paper and then they were
Yeah.
talking about signage to county lots and
Yeah.
what the authority's doing and no parking and all this.
we've looked at
There's
the-
nobody around. There's
Yeah,
parking
we've-
all-
We've
looked
talked
at
to
the
the
county
county, but
lot,
we've talked to the
yeah.
county before about that lot. The hang up on it is that they need it, they need all the spots during the day until 6 o'clock. We've talked to them how they can improve their signage. It hasn't been done. The meter's dead inside of it. It's been dead for years.
I just bring it up
2 years
because,
ago,
you know, we're being mentioned in.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
when he
Oh,
came out with
interesting.
this big thing where he's turning a lot over to public parking on.
Yeah.
weekends, you know.
It's just, there's no signage there. There's no navigation to it.
Yeah, we get contacted.
We do.
You know, about it. There's just, you know, we can reach out, we can, you know, we can talk to whoever but we can't force anybody to do anything.
Right.
We want to help, our hands are kind of tied. We don't
Yeah.
really have any skin in the game.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Thank you.
Yeah. Of course. Would you like to move on to new business?
Yes, please.
All right. RFP and project updates, downtown bid, the wayfinding sign installation. They're still on schedule for March, April to finish that up. If you've been walking around, I'm sure you've been seeing some concrete bases poured, some cones over and that sort of thing. So we'll see some deployment fairly rapidly at the end of March, I believe. Unless the weather gets much better from now. Repair and preventative maintenance. We are on track with the exception of the redesign of the Hudson Avenue entryway. We had to stall that because of the Fish concert last year. But we don't see any problems. We don't see any problems moving forward with that. And they just have some small concrete work to do, and we did get an email from them yesterday, the contractor, saying that they will be on site April 1st to continue the work. The heated sidewalks project. So this and the electrical upgrades go hand in hand. So we got some pretty large bids for the electrical upgrades for Riverfront and Quackenbush in order to make this happen. The bids came in, the lowest bid was a little under 400,
Yeah, around 375.
around, yeah, 375, 400,000 to do the electrical upgrades for this. We want to put this off until 2026, just to see where we are with our bond funds. I am under budget, so far with our major 3-year repair project. But I kind of don't want to pull the trigger on this, until I'm sure that those funds are expended properly and to make sure that, if we have to put any capital into it ourselves, make sure that we can afford that. I do think it's important to have the heated sidewalks specifically for liability. Everything else is a second, labor, all that stuff that we save money on, but, the safety is a major concern. of mine.
Sure, but we have to make sure it's not gonna
But we have to-
impact our.
Exactly. Yes.
And so it came in higher than you expected. You have an idea of what you were expecting?
I was expecting like $100,000, based on talking to the vendors, and I'm usually pretty on with these, but when I talked to the vendor that bid on the heated sidewalks that also had an electrical contractor give them an estimate after the fact, that's why we're in this mess with the heated sidewalks to begin with. They were expecting between 57 and 100,000, so I kind of thought, okay. But that clearly is not the case. And the 2 bids that we did receive, even though they were a little higher than the other, they were kind of in line. So that kind of tells me that we're at a material cost hike.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's significant.
very. Yeah,
I think you're right to be prudent though, and
yeah. I'm not too happy about the whole thing, to be honest. But
They can run new wires and shit.
it's we need another transformer upgrade, which we had done at Quackenbush for the DC fast chargers, but it's not enough to support this and future upgrades.
Is
And
the only way to
riverfronts,
keep the
yeah.
sidewalks through electricity, or is there another way to keep the sidewalks?
You can, there's 2 ways of doing it. You can do a heating element that's electrical, and there's also like yeah, there's a liquid feed, which
Would that be any cheaper?
I don't think it would be any cheaper, because you run into a labor cost versus what the electrical cost is, and it kind of is the same at the end of the day. It might look cheaper on paper, but in the long run, it's,
You need a boiler.
you need a lot of power to push that.
So I wholeheartedly agree, definitely we'll have to figure out what it looks like. Would it make sense to maybe go out again when the months are warmer?
Yeah.
When, as soon as you hear heated anything, it's like 10 times the price, just to sort of see if that number does
Yeah.
shift, if it really is truly cost, if it's, whatever's happening, tariffs or all the other things that they're trying to factor in.
Yeah,
It might be helpful just to kind of see if you may get a different price point when things are shifting for folks.
yeah, I agree. I think the heated sidewalks themselves, the pricing will probably be the same, but the electrical that might be a different deal if we have a little more time to, and I think we have to anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, if we're gonna wait, we'll have to.
yeah.
And I'd like to rebid it as or re-RFP it as a whole, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Snow removal, we're on our last year, with our current vendor. And we are going out to bid, if we have not already,
Yeah, it's out there.
for a new 3-year, snow removal contract. And then we should get those back in end of March.
Yes. Yep, like middle of March.
Yeah, I expect it to be around 35 to 50 grand for the season. I think we're currently paying like 33 or something like that, or 36.
That I would.
Yeah, I think it's close to that.
Sorry.
For what, all the lots?
Yeah, so that would be all the Central Avenue lots, the Quackenbush lot, part of Montgomery Street. And I think we might try to include Clinton Market as well in that contract.
And who clears the single space meters? Is that part of it?
We do, yeah,
Or
if we're,
That's internal.
yeah, that's internal. Yeah, if we get a snow fall of that magnitude, then we would go out and clear out the handicap areas. All right,
Yes,
moving on to the active pass report.
please.
Fairly simple. Like I said, we're just starting off in January, but we do have 11 passes in the positive for January. Which garage was that, Kevin?
I think it was spread.
Oh,
Yeah, most of it was individual.
great. So let's hope that that trend keeps on.
Remind us what the active pass is.
Active passes are how many units of monthly passes we currently have turned on or assigned for at the time of the report. So they might be coming officially online March 15th, but it was purchased in January or February. So it's out of our inventory already.
Let's see.
Daily rate structure.
The daily rate structure. So we are, just to remind the board, we're increasing our daily pricing by $2 for the first and second hour. So it's going from $2 to $3 per hour. We were just getting our programming in place to make that happen with Flash. But we also wanted it to line up with our new LED signs. And, you know, we've had some weather, so we had a little bit of backup. We really wanted to get this rate going this month, but it looks like we're going to have it start for April 1st.
Okay.
I don't want to.
March 31st.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to give everybody, I just don't want to give people 2 weeks notice that we're doing this. I'd like to give them a lot of time to digest this and not, you know, tell us that even though we haven't raised rates in over 15 years. I just want to give everybody enough time. I think it's fair. And the LED signs, they look fantastic now. They're all in working. It's great. So.
All that's fine, but somehow in our planning process, we have to make sure they're not doing an increase over 15 years, you know.
Yes,
Have
yes.
it more
yeah, that's,
thoughtful and defensible and,
yeah.
because then it's expected and then people
Yeah.
understand and it's like.
Yeah, I believe,
Correct.
you know, we've been working on, for the next, I think it's like 3 years.
Yeah, we're gonna review it. We're gonna do a hard review every 2 years for, if deemed to do an implementation 3. Doesn't mean we have to, but we're gonna do a hard review of our numbers and our traffic on our daily rates and monthly passes.
On the meters, when we transition from coins to credit card, that was an automatic price increase anyway, because the coin stays in the meter, so you pull out, there's time still there, the next guy comes in and uses the time you paid for. But when we transition to credit cards, you pull out, you take your money with you, and the new person comes in, has to pay.
That's
That
right,
was
yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
It covered the 15 years.
Oh, you mean when we started doing, yeah, yes, you're right.
Very convenient.
Is this recording?
Okay.
Okay, any questions for the rate structure? Good to go. Okay, great. Meter updates, app only expansion. We have more app only areas around the hospital now. And a lot of our outskirts on Broadway, we've transitioned to app only, and I'm talking about recently. We still have a couple more blocks that we have to do for this season. And I believe we'll stop for 2025 after we get done in March, but we took out enough parking meters so far to save us about $20,000 a year now in just back office expense alone. And we've had zero pushback from the public about app only areas, and we've only had positive feedback. So hopefully we can keep on with that trend.
Good. And this follows the plan we've talked about at the board before.
Yes.
Following through on it.
Absolutely.
So far, no negatives.
No negatives. You know, we have been able to get rid of, my main goal is to get rid of a lot of the single space meters. Some we won't be able to because of whatever the land is in the area, it's dependent on that. If it's a great issue, it's a great opportunity for us to get rid of it, because I mean, it's just safety alone. You know, you don't want people climbing on grass hills just to pay a parking meter. So we encourage that.
That stretch of Dove Street over by the university, well, was the Black
Yes.
Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
That stretch there has always been
Yeah, that stretch there.
difficult.
Yep, there's a place in Townsend Park that's horrible that I believe
Right,
is in
right.
this.
It's another one, and then you get a little snow, anything else. It's-
And then New Scotland
Nightmare.
Avenue going to Lake. That's another one. That was a problem. All right, then moving on to EV charger update for the usage. We're still consistent with last year. Like, I think we made $20 more this January than we did in last January. So our revenue stream for these are the plan for the when we updated the rate is working out well. We don't really see a reason to have to increase that anytime soon, but I usually have Devin and Daria run these reports for me, so we'll see how that's keeping up with the actual electrical charges. And we'll adjust it as needed.
Good.
And moving on to grant updates, we've been fully reimbursed for our ARPA grant. So that's been great.
I won't ask how long that took, but that's great.
You know, the ARPA one wasn't too
Wasn't
bad.
too bad.
No, ESD, on the other hand, we're still waiting for that. I believe it's around $50,000. We're encroaching on our 18-month range now of us to get reimbursed. I expect it to go over that because they've had some turnover. So we have some new faces to deal with, and we'll just keep working on it. I don't think that we'll not get it. It'll just, you know, maybe we'll get it mid-year. Yeah,
That's on the DRI or the study?
Yeah.
Yeah.
the study, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
I'm sorry, not the, yeah. And the build grant, which was the raise grant, we've submitted, and we're just waiting for results. I'm not very confident that we'll get this, but it would be great if we did. This is our first go at it, so there's a lot of people that apply for this apparently. So,
Federal,
yeah,
yeah.
federal DOT.
I
But,
agree, that would be significant. It usually takes a couple of go arounds.
Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, I think we did a really good job submitting, and you know, if anything, it'll be a nice learning curve for us this time around, and we'll just keep plugging away at this and other grants. And
They're usually also, I mean, depending on what the results, like they'll do a debrief and stuff so you can prepare for the next
That'd be
round,
great.
yeah.
yeah, it's fantastic, super helpful. And so that's all I have.
Great, thank you. A lot of good information. Gordon's doing well. Is there any unfinished business we need to bring before the
You got
board members? No. We need to go into executive session Friday.
I don't think so.
No, excellent, that's good. Well, in that case, do I get a motion to adjourn? So moved. Second. All in favor?
Bye.
Aye. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Well done. Thanks.
Thank you all. Thank you.